fabulous as possible. These are your sweets, Makeda
and Melanie.
And you're now listening to Girl.
Girl, what?
Alright, so, it's been a while. We're on every other Sunday. And we started off with our drink of the day from our lovely guests. Let's have our guests introduce themselves first.
We already sipping, y'all. I'm just want y'all to know.
And then we'll discuss what our drink of the day is.
You want to go first, Danielle?
Sure. Hi, my name is Daniella Pierre. I'm a columnist with the Miami Times, and I live here in South Florida. And today I'm drinking, my drink is just water because I'm under the weather. So my drink is called Healing.
Healing water. We love that.
Healing water.
And Mrs. Gerri.
My name is Gerri Rocker, and I'm the owner of Joyful Nuptials, which is a wedding planning and event services company. And my drink for the day is Love is the Way.
Love is the way, baby. Let's hear.
This drink is everything.
You know what? We didn't clink. I didn't hear a clink.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No clink.
Hold on, let me clink.
That was supposed to be the intro to our drink of the day segment, but that's okay.
With this drink, man, anything is gonna happen. It's good.
Oh, that's yummy.
Love is the way.
Love is the way. Love is the way. So, let's get into our Eminem moment. Eminem moment. I think I went first last time, so it's on you. Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so the last 2 weeks, let's see. What have I done in the last 2 weeks? I've been relaxing. Girl, you out. I'm sorry. Makeda's computer just went there. Let's see. What have I been doing? It seems like I've been relaxing. It's been raining
I know.
a lot.
It's been raining the last
like
2
every
weeks.
weekend. And then, of course, school is winding down.
Yes.
So, we just trying to get the babies up out of there and ready for the summer.
When are you out?
The last day is the 8th of June.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we have maybe 1 more week and a half, maybe.
Wait, but when is your last day?
My last day is the 4th. But the last day of school is the 8th. Yeah, so it's right around the corner. Yeah. Summer is here.
Summer is here.
And Shinsheet Decor, www.shinsheetdecor.com. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter,
great,
Facebook. My husband's album's coming out June 20th.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What's the name of the album?
See, y'all making me talk in this alcohol right now.
Woo!
My Way, Love Redemption.
Love Redemption.
Yes, Love Redemption. And it's hot. It's probably one of my favorites.
Oh, good. I'm
it's
excited.
He put his heart in this one. Good.
Yeah. Good. So what's going on in Makeda's world? So everyone knows on the political front, I'm working with Sean Shaw.
Woo, woo, woo.
He's running for Attorney General for the state of Florida. I am so excited.
That's what's up.
We did a couple of rounds of meetings and fundraisers and visits. So I was very, very busy with him, which is great. We're getting the momentum. This past week, he met with BOMA, which is the Black Media Alliance. I am so sorry, Dexter Bridgman is the president. Tony Lacine is the vice president. I had a wonderful conversation with them, and they pulled together most of the board members of the organization, which is the WNBM and Caribbean Today, and there was quite a few groups that Sean was able to sit and speak with, so that was great. I have a speaking engagement coming up on this coming Wednesday. I'm speaking at a church sharing my breast cancer story. For many of our listeners or those that know or don't know, I'm a breast cancer survivor twice. I was recently asked to come to someone's church to share my story. And so I will be doing that this coming week. So I'm really excited about that. And other than that, we had game night.
Oh, yeah. I saw
with Gamma Zeta Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. That was fun. I will say this: we did. I won. No, I didn't win. We won the stroll competition.
I saw that. I didn't have video footage.
And then there was a part where we were doing hula hooping. And I didn't know how to hula hoop on my waist, so I did it around my neck. And for whatever reason...
And they didn't video that?
They did! I gotta show you. And so... Yeah, I lasted long with my neck. As you can imagine, it was pretty embarrassing. And it was like, whatever. It is what it is. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do.
But the hair didn't come out.
No, the hair didn't come out. But I looked very awkward because I'm like this. You can't see. But this was the action.
Oh, that's funny.
And, yeah, I got second place.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
So, anyway, that's it. We were going to go into some hot topics, but my computer died.
I mean, I have some points that maybe we could touch on when they come out and touch on when they come out.
So, I guess I can share the couple of things that I had pulled. One, Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, Harvey Weinstein was recently arrested.
Yeah, he turned himself in, right?
Yeah, he had to turn himself in, and I think it was a $10 million bail. So he's out. I guess there's.
Ooh, why didn't you call Gerri for that?
I know, right? No, he's in New York. He had to turn himself in New York. Officially, there were 2 charges. I know, it would have been lovely, right?
Real nice.
2 charges, and I think they were stemming from 2 actual incidences of women saying that they were sexually assaulted. As most of you know, the Me Too movement kind of evolved around Harvey Weinstein and a number of women coming out against. A few days ago, Morgan Freeman was also accused.
Yes.
8 women, by the end of the day, 8 women came out. And basically,
right.
Morgan Freeman says, I'm 80 years old, and I may have said some things that he thought was trying to make people comfortable, but it turns out to be that way. But in no way had he sexually assaulted anyone or, mistreated anyone in any shape or form. So he is,
cool, man.
It's
not cool.
I know it's not cool. In sports, we're in the playoffs.
Yeah, I have that on here.
Ha.
Oh, who's
you
in?
want to?
Oh,
it's the Cavaliers.
Oh, I thought you were talking about NFL. We're not there yet.
No, not there. Yeah, that's another story too.
Okay.
Cavaliers and
Celtics. The Warriors in Houston.
Yeah, but what I saw that was interesting was they said that last game the Celtics were not Cavaliers. The Cavaliers were not supposed to win because they were so far behind, and I think LeBron James was like historic, like 48 points and like 46
superhero powers.
Yeah, like he turned on the power and kept it moving. So, kudos to LeBron. I am a fan still. Doesn't matter if he's not with the Heat anymore. The other story that we can talk about lightly is the NFL. Thoughts? I posted something the other day saying that I thought the NFL is on the wrong side of history. For those that don't know, they are trying to mandate all of the players that are on the field to stand for the anthem. A lot of that stemmed from our President Trump and his thoughts, and so it trickled down into the owners, and we're at this space right now that I don't think that they're necessarily paying attention that minorities also watch football as well. And the majority of your athletes or your football players, like 80 plus 70%
yeah, so
of
they
your,
all decided not to come out, then what happen?
Oh,
that would be wonderful.
I'm hoping they do
sit out for a couple of Sundays and let them feel the economic impact.
We'll see. We'll see what happens there. But Mel, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add to it.
There were more high school shootings.
Oh yes, 2 other shootings.
Yeah. Publix was in the news.
Mm-hmm.
The kids were protesting, but it looks like they got their way because I think they backed out of the deal with NAFTA or
with
the NRA.
Commissioner Putnam, who was agricultural commissioner.
Yeah.
Putnam, who they were contributing mightily to.
Yes. So they withdrew that commitment, is what I'm thinking. So I don't feel so bad now that I'm doing Publix delivery. Which
Yeah,
is awesome.
I know. I saw. I was like,
Publix delivery is awesome, especially for busy people.
Yeah, I need.
It's my best friend now.
Yeah,
Well, you know, as much as I love Publix, last week when I was grocery shopping, I deliberately did not go, and I thought, this is crazy. I'm running from, Whole Foods to Trader Joe's, etc. But then I thought, that's what sacrifice is about.
Yeah.
And I really had made the commitment that I was not going to shop at Publix until they decided that they were not going to support the NRA, and especially this guy, Putnam, because he also is he's a staunch Rick Scott supporter.
Yeah.
He is anti-immigrant. And he was very vocal about suppressing the black vote in Florida.
Wow.
So he is not someone that is a friend to our community for sure. So I
Publix
certainly don't want my money. I hope that they're not doing anything behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, that is a whole nother animal in itself. But I am kind of excited to just jump right into our subjects at hand.
I'm trying to think, was there anything else that was like hot, entertaining news? Oh, I have one comment. I saw the Billboard Awards last week. I'm like into music. I don't know if anybody else saw it. And I was a little bothered. And here's why I was bothered. Because all the singers were not black. And I don't know if there's a shift. It seems like there's a shift in the entertainment industry where they are promoting more Hispanic and Caucasians in the R&B realm. First of all, they're trying to take away genres altogether. But in the R&B realm and the entertainers that they had that were black, in my opinion, were not singers. I mean, I'm a fan of Janet Jackson, but she's an entertainer. She's not a singer. She's not a singer. When I say singer, y'all know what I mean.
Yes.
She can't sing.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like now in the industry, they're really downplaying the African American vocal talent. And they're pushing the Hispanic and the Caucasian vocal talent. So when I'm watching it, I'm like, and I think I even made a comment, I'm like, so we're not singing our music anymore? That bothered me.
And then that could be the same shift that we saw when the music industry was beginning, where a lot of the artists like the Elvis Presleys that was really taking music from, the
Rolling Stones,
and I think we're in a shift
because now there's big Asian group is popping.
I saw that. It was like 10 of them, and they all looked. Listen, I didn't want to say, but I looked very hard.
They did look like brothers.
And everybody.
Not that all Asians look alike. I'm not going to say that.
We're not saying that.
But they all look like brothers.
Because
they say black people look alike. But I just want they all literally look like brothers. Like, because they were all dressed alike. They all look like the same height.
Similar hairdo, except for one was a little bit longer. Like, I'm sorry. I felt like I was looking at the same face.
And everybody loves them. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, all the little girls
I saw people in the crowds that was all collectively singing their songs. And I really felt like I am definitely not in the music industry anymore. I barely knew any of the people. Like, it was, woo!
Yeah,
it was
shocking. It was shocking.
So please, we're not trying to.
So I think that's pretty much it.
So
other than I do want to make sure we honor tomorrow's Memorial Day, and although the media is like kind of overlooking him, I want to honor Sergeant LaDavid Johnson.
Oh yes,
as a fallen soldier,
and from Miami Gardens. Yes.
So they're like totally ignoring. Or they're not revealing the truth of what happened. And so he's one soldier that I want to mention. And I'm sure there's many others.
Yeah, and we're just going to pay respects to all of our fallen soldiers and what the true meaning of Memorial Day is for, which is honoring our soldiers, right? since my laptop died, I have nothing to
right. So
to read. So let's jump on into the subject. Let's start it off with the royal wedding.
Oh, that's what you've been waiting for. Oh goodness, this shit.
I was up at 4:30 Saturday morning to watch.
It wasn't on.
It was starting.
It was starting?
Yeah. Oprah was walking in. Idris Elba was walking in.
Y'all have to see this.
I was there. I was there, honey, with my fastener, and I was ready.
Really?
I was ready. I called my mom and woke her up, and I said, "Are we watching the wedding? Are we out there? We're there." I was there.
Actually, my cousin and her daughter went. They were there. They weren't at the wedding, but they were outside on the... No. Yeah, they went. I saw the pictures. I was like, ooh.
That's amazing.
It's to another level. I don't know if I would...
Listen, if I had the coinage, she would have been there, okay? There, screaming, crying, all that. I loved it. I did.
So what y'all think about the wedding? Especially Miss Rocker.
I thought it was absolutely magical. I thought they were royal and relatable.
Yeah.
I mean, I think their love it crossed all boundaries. And when you think about the boundaries that they had to cross, for that marriage, it's tremendous. And then I love the way that she incorporated the African American culture.
Yes.
Bishop.
Yes.
Curry.
They weren't ready.
Wasn't ready.
And the choir. And I just assumed how we make assumptions. I assumed, they brought a choir.
Oh, no.
They were British. I could tell they were British.
And then the cellist, the 19-year-old cellist.
Yes.
And I just thought that when the bishop was talking about how that's the name of it, love is the way, and how he made sort of an unapologetic plea for love, and how if we just open ourselves up, that love will come to us. And I think so many of us have closed ourselves off. Yes. And I was thinking how open and receptive, because Meghan, that was a blind date.
Yeah, it was a blind
date. And that for him as well, that they were open enough to say, I'll agree to meet this person, and look what happened, what manifested. And I just think they're going to go on to do great things. I won't be surprised if they don't adopt some black children from Africa.
I agree.
I think that they might do that. And I love the fact that instead of asking for gifts, and what kind of gifts they would have gotten based on the crowd, but they selected 7 charities that really focused on women and children, and they asked that people, if they wanted to give a gift, to donate to those charities. So I just thought it was just a beautiful, beautiful blending of the cultures.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, and I have to say, I admire Harry because, I think that I heard someone say that Diana placed a time bomb in him, and that time bomb sort of went off because he's very much his mother's child. She was very open and receptive, and I just think that it's great. And I was telling someone, I heard a British newscaster say that Harry was looking at Meghan like, when you look at warm syrup.
Yeah, like he was gonna eat her up off the plate. He was looking like, when this is over, it's on. That's how he was looking.
Shakespeare would say, he is besotted.
Yeah.
I think I just loved just the timeline and just the development of you can see the genuine love that they had for each other. And they were they're a little playful when they had their engagement official coming out, and just the different, even the paparazzi pictures that's catching them off guard. It was like they're always very much they're smiling at each other. It's they brought
they have fun together.
Yeah, they have fun together. They brought a different dynamic to the monarchy, and I loved it. And when I started to pay attention to Meghan's background, she has been an activist and driving a feminist for a long time. Since she was a little girl, there was the Ivory soap detergent. It was a detergent commercial that she saw, and when she went to school, the guys, because the commercial said something to the effect, I don't remember it exactly, but women all across the U.S. is fighting to have clean dishes and something to that effect. When she went to school, the little boy says, yeah, that's where y'all belong, in the kitchen. So then she wrote a letter. She wrote a letter to then First Lady Hillary Clinton. She wrote a letter to Procter and Gamble. She wrote a letter to some other
to the TV stations.
To the TV stations. And so what happened was everyone basically started contacting and writing back, and within like 3 months, Procter & Gamble changed the commercial to say people all across the United States are fighting to have clean pots and pans. So she shared that story and said that ignited her, belief that she can be greater and make real changes in the world. And I mean, that story in itself and the things that she's been doing since then, of course, identifying as biracial and how that impacted her. Like, I love her. I love her story. I'm going to order Suits and watch it. I've never watched the show. I heard it's a great show too. Yeah. And so I'm going to binge watch that. And that's about it.
You didn't watch The Wedding?
I just didn't watch it. I was actually at a parent meeting for Urban League. So.
Oh my God.
But you heard about it.
I heard about it. I saw a lot of photos on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
And what are your feelings? You can be honest.
Looks like a fairy tale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
So some fairy tales.
I mean, it's real.
It's real.
It does.
Well,
yeah.
That's really what it is. Like, no, seriously, like, the thing that stuck out to me the most about The Wedding was the minister. Mm-hmm. The minister and his message was so powerful. And I didn't know much about her. I learned after. But I could tell she's a boss, because I saw how she sat back as he was speaking, and even the people in the audience, you could tell some people were feeling kind of uncomfortable. She sat there and gloated and took it all in, and was like, to me, her face was looking like, yep, I did it, and y'all need to listen. Mm-hmm. Like, she did not look to the left, she did not look to the right. She was looking dead at the pastor as if she was in agreement with everything he said.
Well, the Episcopal Church is very conservative, especially in Britain. Mm-hmm. So they probably had never even heard a sermon. That was a sermon.
Yeah, that was for real.
So, that was for real.
So that's the thing that stuck out to me. And then I couldn't take my eyes off her mom. And how proud her mom looked, or, I don't know what what struggles they've gone through or whatever, but to me it was like more of, she was proud of her daughter. I don't know if it's necessarily for marrying a prince
as a person,
but just as a person. She was proud of her as a person, and the fact that it spoke volumes to me that she was so brave, because obviously she was behind a lot of it, but that she was so brave to say, you know what, I don't care where we are. They're going to embrace me, and they're going to embrace this half of my culture, and that is the black side. She's going to embrace this.
Well,
which said a lot, because she could have just said, you know what, I don't want to ruffle feathers, but she, it said a lot about her.
Well,
exactly.
I think that was the thing. She knew who she was.
Well, she's older.
And she's older.
She's not 19 like Diana was.
Yeah, exactly. She's a grown woman. She's a divorcee. She didn't have any kids. Right. And the thing with the bishop was that was Harry's selection. That wasn't Meghan's selection. And again, Harry has a very close relationship with the Obamas. It might have been, that might have been their indirect. We won't be there, but here you go. But anyway,
in fact, someone said that even though the Obamas were not physically present, the soul of the Obamas was very
exactly
much in the ceremony.
Yeah. And Queen Oprah was in the building too, so and that's our and Idris Elba. But overall,
I guess for me, like, you can find love anywhere. I just don't like what tends to happen when things like this happen. What tends to happen, it becomes like a fad. Where now all the black women want to try to find a white man to marry. And so I guess this kind of will segue into our topic, because I've seen like a couple people say, you know what, maybe I need to look for me a white man. Like, and I mean, love, you can find love anywhere. I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I'm saying. I don't discriminate or anything. I mean, we all have our personal preferences. Me personally, I like a black man, but you can find love anywhere. But I don't want it to become this thing where it's like a fad, and we miss the mark of the message behind it is find love, and love is sometimes imperfect. Because, like you said, Ms. Rocker, they had to go through and hear a lot and go through a lot to be able to come together and take a stance to say, you know what, regardless, we're in love, and they're going to take it. And, and I'm sure going forward, now that they're married, they're going to have more struggles and more obstacles that they have to overcome. And so with that message behind that, I wanted to pull together this show to reflect. Of course, as I mentioned, Ms. Rocker is a wedding planner. She actually planned Jay and I's wedding. So I've been dying to get her on the show. And then we have Daniella Pierre, who she's multifaceted. She's an instructor at Miami-Dade, or an advisor. I'm sorry, an academic advisor. But she also is very, very knowledgeable of affordable housing. She's a columnist. She writes on for the Miami Times, freelance. And so I thought bringing the two of you together would be a good collaboration to discuss what's happening in our community and things that I see as a teacher amongst our children, and things that maybe Makeda may see in our community, and how it's almost like where'd the love go? Like nobody wants to get married. And I think you all saw I put a random post on 2 questions. The first question was, why aren't you married? And then the second question was, did integration help us or hurt us? So, bringing all of that back, I think we collaboratively could have a very needed conversation, because women don't want to get married. Those that want to get married say they're waiting on God to bring them to them, or He hasn't found them yet. And I thought also we're different ages, so I thought it might be interesting to get Ms. Rocker's perspective of what the love life was in your day when you got married. Like, what is going on? Why is it so hard for people to get married, to stay married, and see the importance of marriage, and for so many reasons?
I definitely, before we get into that, the totality is not just on the marriage. We want to highlight, and because I think that is probably a part of it too. Like, where do we live?
That's
of
a part
being
of it.
able to afford to like be here, because I know my own personal struggles, and I've seen the things that you've been doing, not just in South Florida, but you've been going to DC and around the country, and like, so we definitely want to talk about.
But it all impacts the needs for affordable housing, and so I kind of want to. I know we only have a small frame of time, but somehow, like, what's going on?
I mean, we're talking about marriage and stuff, but what does it look like? I mean, in communities such as Broward, we may know exactly what marriage and love looks like. But when you come back closer to my home, I don't know what that looks like. And many of my neighbors don't either. So then when we're looking at the wedding that just took place, I'm like, okay, that's a fairy tale. When will that ever happen? Right. For me or for my neighbor or anybody in 33147? So I think while we're not married, we don't know what love looks like. And then if we're waiting for a man, I don't know where they are.
I can say,
are they being men?
They're in prison.
Well, not all of them are in prison.
But almost 500,000 black men are in prison. That's a huge number of people. Yes. Huge number.
Not all of them are in prison.
Well, no, not what I'm saying,
But the ones that are here are free. Yeah. And they're free physically, but bound in their minds. they're not stepping up, rising up, or even speaking up.
Right.
And, that's probably why we're not getting married. I mean, you have a lot of women, even in my age, and I'm under 40, and we're holding our own. Not because we want to, but because we have to.
That's true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets very hard. And I'm a single mother of 2 children, 2 teenagers in high school. And that's hard for me every day. So I'm waiting on this person. Like, come on. You don't even have to be no royal wedding right now.
Yeah.
We'll get there. I'm ready to kind of
get somebody to work with.
Yeah. I'm not trying to build you all the way up. But they can't even come in the door with nothing if they, So, I mean, that to where I live, I don't know how that love. I don't see it. Mm-hmm. I really don't see it. And I try to look for it. Like I said, I definitely try to be open. Mm-hmm. I have an open mindset to appreciate it at first. If you didn't have this, don't even step, whatever. But now it's okay. Maybe at least you got a wallet. Mm-hmm. At least you got a wallet.
Yeah.
Half of them don't even have a wallet.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
I think it's also the fact, a large part of it that I see, especially here in South Florida, and this is across the country, so many black men marry outside the race. And I think that, in going back to Melanie's point, is this going to become a fad? But I think that black women, if you really want to find love, you are going to have to be more open and receptive to men other than black men, because black men have their choice of black women, Caucasian women, Asian women, Hispanic women, and they're taking advantage of it. So I think that you have to be open and say, okay, it might not look like what I originally thought when I, maybe was younger and more impressionable. This is the man that I'm going to marry. He may come God may send you, and not getting into any more spirituality, but it may not be like what you thought. God may send you something totally different. But are you going to be open and receptive enough to see it and embrace it and say, okay, this is a good man. He works, he loves my children. He takes care of us. But his skin color may be different. So I think that's something, too, that black women especially are going to have to be more open to, because I see that so much here. And I think, what about my younger black sisters? I see all these brothers with women who don't look like us, that don't look like their mothers and their aunties. And don't even talk about on, like, the professional athletic level. My husband has a thing that says when they sign their NBA contract, it comes with a contract that they must marry outside the race.
Well,
it seems like it.
Yeah. And you know what? I could be wrong. I'm just going to shoot from the hip. The numbers are not as big as we think. The problem is when you get into the spheres of the men that are educated, the ones that are up a certain echelon, yes, I think they are definitely opening themselves up to dating outside of their race more often than maybe some blue collar workers, or just, our guys that some are doing very well, but they're not like top executives at firms or stuff. So I do believe that there is, and so when we see that enough, especially when media plays a big part in elevating those individuals and those stories, it looks like every successful black man is marrying non-black women, and then it starts to trickle down into our communities. But and on the flip side, it's not the same for us. Like, we stick with our men and hoping that someone of our race is going to see the importance in us. I mean, I'm very open to dating outside of my race. I mean, I have dated outside of my race before, but for whatever reason, and for my own, speaking for myself, my own career path didn't really keep me anywhere long enough to settle down and be with someone. But I'm still very, very much open. It's funny because on the Facebook front, I did make a comment, half jokingly, half not, saying, "Get you a Harry," and that's how I was saying it in my mind. Woo! I got hot all of a sudden. But with me saying that, and I don't normally comment or do off-color humorous posts like that. My stuff is mainly about politics and all this stuff. And so, in the spirit of the royal wedding, and just loving love and loving what they were, the meaning of that interracial wedding, or what that was. I commented, "Get you a Harry." Oh my God, I must have got like 50 comments under
but
that.
Let me just say though, with Harry, and this is kind of where Harry has come a long way. Mm-hmm. The Harry 5 years ago, you might not have wanted him. Mm-mm. And I'm saying that to say, just from my experience, in my opinion, most men, they grow, they evolve.
Absolutely.
And in most cases, and correct me if I'm wrong, most women I know that's married, been married or whatever, their husband became great. He didn't start out great. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying that to say, I think, and this might be where you can chime in. From what I remember, when my mom told me stories of when she was growing up, or women that I know grew up in my mom's day, they met somebody, they fell in love, and they built together. The man didn't necessarily have it all together like Harry has it together now. Before, Harry was on drugs. Harry was drinking a lot. He was lost. He was depressed. He found himself by going through a journey. And through that journey, he was with a lot of other women.
Yeah.
And he broke a lot of other women's hearts. It just so happens when he met Megan, he went through that journey. He went through that process. And now he's the Harry that you know now. But that's not to... there's no guarantee that there might not be some more bumps in the road.
Yeah, but
So my point,
no one's life is perfect.
Yeah,
exactly.
No one's perfect.
So my point, I'm saying,
the Harry, and going back to Get You a Harry, it had nothing to do with Prince Harry himself. It had everything to do with like open yourself up to something that you might not have necessarily prepared yourself for. That Harry, it could be with anybody. It doesn't. Yeah.
I had a couple that they've been married now probably for about 10 years, but the guy very much was attracted to her. He was a little bit overweight, solid guy, good job and everything, and she was not interested. And he was just sort of pouring out his heart to me, and I said, well, just be patient with her. Lo and behold, they did come back together. She married him. They're both African American. And I tell you, her life has done a 180. I mean, they live in D.C. now. This man is so good to her. I'm sure she never could have envisioned. But he didn't come in the package that she thought he should have come in. She couldn't see that. But finally, something opened her eyes, and I truly believe they have a very, very good marriage now. But at the beginning, she was not, she was looking for something flashy. And he was just a solid executive, but solid guy, but didn't look the way that I think she thought he should have looked. And he's the best thing that could have happened to her. And she mentioned that when she spoke at the wedding. She said sometimes what's best for you is right in front of your eyes and you don't even see it.
Yeah, sure. A friend of mine who a few years ago said something to me like who likes you. Mm-hmm. And I took that to heart. I mean, it definitely made me. It switched something to say, you know what, just be open. If someone likes you and they're not, but it's never been about a package, or it's never been a certain thing that I need. I'm literally waiting for someone that likes me, and they want the idea of going in a certain direction. I've dated some individuals that's like we were dating for a while and they really didn't know what they were looking for, and it was like, I am not gonna be the girlfriend for 15 years. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do that. And I think that we need to start putting our foot down, and and that was something for me to evolve in myself. I was never really a huge communicator when I got into relationships, because I didn't want to ruffle any feathers, and what I saw growing up was like not how I wanted a relationship to be, and I've learned a lot, and I think at the end of the day now gotten a better sense of who I am and what I want. And I'm verbalizing it more. Now, verbalizing it more at 40, I'm dealing with a different group of men that are available. So, but I'm still very optimistic and open. And I keep with me that notion of who likes me.
I think a big problem with people getting in relationships or marrying is, I don't know, I just feel like we, black women, we are our own enemy.
Mm-hmm.
We are our own enemy. So many black women, how can I say it? I feel like this, if every black woman honored marriage and marriages, a lot of things that are happening with our black men would not happen. Meaning, if single women respected the fact that this is a married man, or if single women, or if women, period, respected the fact that I should not be showing my body to everybody, any and everybody on Facebook or on Twitter, on Instagram. I think if black women understood how black men tick, and we respected the institution of marriage and respected love and what love is supposed to be, love for ourselves, love for one another, love for our community, love for black men, a lot of things we wouldn't do as black women. A lot of things that are happening, even our kids. Like, when I see little girls now parading themselves, showing their bodies, I can't tell who's older and who's younger. There's a level of respect that's missing in the black community.
But you're saying
Totally.
Black community. I do believe that our culture, our society is really taking a hold, because they're just mimicking what they're seeing.
No. I agree. But again, my mind, how I'm thinking, I'm not focused on them. I'm focused on what's happening in our community. I agree with you, the culture as a whole, but I'm not focused on the other cultures. My focus is
it's happening more in their cultures. I don't want it to make it seem
it's
like
happening
it's
more, but it's happening in ours.
Yeah, it's definitely happening in ours. But let's
I think when you
identify
teach,
where the influences
when
are
it
from.
happens in ours, though, it has more of a
impact.
negative
Yes.
more of an impact.
Yes, and when you teach, you see what these kids are saying and doing, even in little, like kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you see it. I see it more every day, every single day. I see what's happening to our black community.
And it's awful. I mean, I've seen
Yes.
things on Facebook where I've just quickly scrolled through, but people filming little girls like dancing. I mean, like her dancing
Yes.
suggestively.
Yes.
And I'm like, what is that about? As black people, as black women,
Yes.
this is what you want your little 4 or 5-year-old daughter to be doing at
Mm-hmm.
this age. Where is she seeing that to learn that?
And black women promote it. Their mothers are promoting it.
They have
That's
to
why I'm
be.
saying I understand what Makeda's saying,
Mm-hmm.
but my focus, my passion, is what's happening to our community, because I see what's happening to our kids. And these kids are going to be our future.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a problem. This dynamic that's happening in our community is a problem. It's a big problem. And it starts with us. We're the ones who birthed them. We're the ones that nurture them. We're the ones that, lay down, sleep with them. We're the one. Most men tick because of what we do.
But
They tick because of what we do.
And I think we still need to rectify that it is the outside culture's influences that's changing how we're parenting our kids. I see it. We're like acting like our kids are our best friends. No, we are
a parent of teens. How do you deal with
it's very
challenges?
hard. And I grew up old school. My grandmother, who's still with me today, 93 years old, she raised me through much prayer. And she's still praying. And I think a lot of homes are missing that. They don't have the grandma.
Yes.
Like,
grandmas.
right.
Yeah.
Even my kids, my mom is 54. So what? Right. And
Yeah.
what she does with my kids, I'm like, what? I'm saying what? So I think a lot of homes are missing that old school grandmother.
They're missing that.
So then these parents are doing only what they know. Without somebody coming back in to mentor those parents, you're going to have that mom saying, girl, get out there and dance. You better check your stuff and do all. They're going to do that because that's all they know. But if, no one is coming back in to show them a different way, then what do we expect as a community? I always say this. We can't expect broken homes to raise and develop whole families without the resources. I'm not talking about food stamps. I'm not talking about affordable housing. But without the resources, meaning counseling, mental health, and wellness to go in and stabilize those families, you're not going to get anything out of that. Yeah. I mean, I live in Sugar Hill, off 15, right by Miracles. I see it every day. Yeah. Every day, I see a lot of stuff every day, and it's a lot, and it's hard even for me sometimes to go and approach my neighbors, to kind of show them a different way. A couple of them I featured in the Miami Times, so now I guess I'm respected or whatever, and I'm like, it's just the Miami Times. They be like, I got a story for you. So it's like all before then, they never spoke to me or just say, oh no, she worked down there, but now they come and approach me differently. And, I mean, again, it took me doing something for them, let them see that, I'm cool, how could we make it better? Right. And, through, us going to the rental office, the Urban League now has parenting classes, and that's something that T. Will Affair has instituted for about a month now. Every Saturday, he opens up the office for single mothers, and it's open to anybody in the community, too. But we come in together, we learn communication skills, conflict resolution.
That's what I'm talking about.
To kind of get those parents, the ones that are just least and lost and left out, to kind of get them back in to society. It's going to take us all.
But that's what it's going to take. We have to reach one, teach one. We can't just see it and say nothing about it and do nothing about it. Even if it's something that's out of our comfort level, we have to figure out collectively getting involved. And if you can't resonate with your neighbor, maybe there's someone else that can. And the other problem is that when our children and when ourselves have started to get educated and never came back to the community, that's it. Again, it's a whole dynamic of dissension where we don't know anyone successful because they don't come back. Yeah. They don't come back to the community. Look, I didn't grow up in the hood, but I do understand that dynamic that has to happen. My neighbor, still in Miami Gardens, and Miami Gardens is not painted the best picture nowadays, but where I grew up in Miami Gardens, all of the black families around were professionals. They were CPAs. There were college educators. They still live over there. Mm-hmm. I saw people that were not the typical blue collar, whatever people. And so it gave me it put a fire in me that I knew I can do more. I'm back in my neighborhood and I see that shift with, a lot of the younger people not being able to see and connect to many of the folks our age that used to live over there because we got educated and we left.
But I don't think it necessarily has to be that if you only when you're not blue collar that you understand how to raise. My grandfather was a carpenter. My grandmother did not work. She did odds and ends. She cleaned people's houses. And my grandparents had 9 kids, and they taught those 9 kids what was needed to make it into society and make it on their own and be better than them. So I don't think it necessarily has to be that you become a doctor or lawyer or executive or whatever to understand what's important in raising your family and a strong, your strong family values. So I'm saying, like, I hear what you're saying, and trust me, because of my grandparents, struggle and them instilling in my mom and my aunts, they wanted more for them. I'm a product of, I was raised in suburbia, but I understand the backs that I stand on, and those backs that I stand on were not educated. My grandmother was not educated. She did not go to college. My grandfather did not go to college. So that's why I don't make excuses that just because you're from the hood or you don't have this type of job or you only can marry this type of person. No, family values are family values. There's something that's missing. And that's why I was going back to when you were growing up. Like you said, you grew up with my mom. My mom's era. Your parents didn't have these top-notch jobs. And they were going through racism and all this other stuff.
Paying their taxes. My parents were never on any kind of public assistance. And you know, when I went to college, I was appalled that, you know, in sociology classes they were talking about the neglect of the black family, because in my neighborhood we all had fathers present, and I never knew that supposedly we were deprived, because I thought I had a very and I grew up in Connecticut, so it was a little, you know, different scenario there too. But just strong people that worked every day, they went to church, you know, they paid their bills, they paid their taxes, they didn't, you know, so I never could understand that.
And that's my issue. Like, I know there's things that are going on in the world, but I'm sure there were things going on in the world when you were growing up.
So, racism.
But I grew up in a way where it didn't matter what was going on in the world. I don't care what's going on in the world. You're going to do what I tell you to do, and you're going to pray, you're going to do what needs to be done the right way according to God's word. I could care less. Don't tell me about what you want to do, because if it's not in line with what I know you need to do, I don't want to hear about it. So I know it's things going on out there in the world. We got Trump in the foolishness. We got all this other stuff in the foolishness. But in your house, it should not matter what's going on out there. And that's where I feel our black community is something wrong. Like, it did not, back in the day, even in the hood, my husband grew up in the city. He tells me, he's like, back then, drug dealers, they would do what they do. But when they see the kids going to school, they'll tell you, don't do what I do. Stay in school. Get your education. In other words, I'm going to get, whatever I got to do, you need some shoes? Okay, here's some shoes. You focus on school. Nowadays, they don't do that anymore. Drug dealers don't encourage kids to go to school anymore. That's the problem.
Let me just switch gears really quick, because we're down to our last 8 minutes. I want to get an affordable housing concept, discussed. First off, kind of tell us a little bit about your fight and what you've been, focusing on as far as affordable housing.
So my fight actually began, I'm someone that wanted to move out of the hood, which I did back in 2006. I bought a new townhouse in Majorca Isles off County Line Road. So me and my kids were living there. Awesome. I was a full-time employee with Miami-Dade County Public Schools. And then ERP came in, and they laid me off. Actually, they put me in the classroom in Miami Northwestern for about 6 months. But then I lost my home. I lost my home in 2014 due to foreclosure. So I had nowhere to go. Me and my kids were just like, well, what we going to do now? My mom and grandmother lived together in a 55-plus community, so I really couldn't be there officially, So then, I applied with Urban League, and that's how I was able to get in, because when I got laid off, I started working part-time with Miami-Dade College. So after I became full-time, now I'm ready to move. I'm like, yes, I can move now. No, I can't. I still don't make enough. Even after going back to school to get my master's degree, you telling me I still can't find somewhere to live? So because I was like always looking, doing comparisons, and just like something is not right. You're going to tell me I make too much to live in affordable housing. Then you're going to tell me when I want to live in Miami Lakes, I don't make enough. So where exactly am I supposed to live? So I was, experiencing other people going through the same thing. It just wasn't me. And I'm like, wait, this has been going on? I never knew that was going on. So because of that, I was hosting some workshops and forums. The Miami Times actually came to one of my workshops, and they were so impressed that they, asked me to start writing some columns about it. And from that, I've just been getting so much traction, not just here in Miami-Dade, just national. Even going up to HUD, I met Secretary Carson before he just kind of switched out. But I actually had a chance to meet with him and share my perspective. I even allowed him to see young black professionals who were in need of housing. And I guess it wore off by the time you get on the plane. But, yeah.
Wow.
Since then, I just continue to advocate through writing, and I also go to the commissioners and I speak with them to let them know we need change. And since then, we have some commissioners that are very passionate about housing, but not enough action has been done. I reach an audience between 16 years of age to 55 plus. Even some military professionals even write me and say, you know what, I don't even have a place to live, and I'll serve my country. Mm-hmm. That's unacceptable.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That makes no sense. I mean, you have even teachers. A large part of my column I dedicate to teachers, too, because they're in the classroom. Mm-hmm. They can't, how you expect them to teach, if they don't have a shelter? Mm-hmm. Makes no sense. Even myself, I'm not a teacher, but we do advise. A lot of my colleagues are like millennials.
Yeah.
They're living at home.
What are the numbers?
So in terms of data, we have 53% of households in Miami-Dade County that are cost burdened. 53% in Miami-Dade, 48% in Broward County, and 45% in Palm Beach. When I say cost burden, that means they're paying more than 30% of their income towards household expenses. So then if you have to pay that much more, that means you have a shortfall in health care, food, and other essentials. Mm-hmm. And let's say you have minor children, that daycare is going to eat that up. Mm-hmm. So then what do you think is going to happen? That's why we have so much fraud. Hello. Yeah. I don't want to talk about it. That's why we have so much fraud. And I even have heard myself personally, when I went to apply for an apartment, the leasing clerk told me, oh, if you had one more child. I'm like, what?
So backwards.
She said, if I had one more child, I can live there. So now I'm like, maybe that's why a lot of people have so many children in these times.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And again, it comes back, and I'm sure most of the percentage are single mothers.
And then
mothers.
These numbers include single mothers, but also working professionals. Mm-hmm. And that makes no sense. You have people with upstanding jobs who, have gone back to school and have so much of the student loan debt. Yeah. So now you're telling me, okay, you've gone back to school, now go buy a house. Okay, I'm ready. My credit score is 670. I'm ready. But my DTI, my debt to income ratio was very high because of my student loan.
Yeah. So you have teachers working 2 jobs or more.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you
always got to hustle.
What do you, I mean, I know it's going to be horrible. What's the impact of this new, perhaps, hopefully not, ruling that Carson wants to put in place to raise the rent of people in public housing? That makes no sense.
I'm totally against it. I told him through a tweet that you shouldn't think about raising any type of rent without raising the income.
Exactly.
You haven't raised minimum wage. How you going to raise the rent? That makes no sense.
Because they don't care.
Yeah, that makes no sense at all.
But
they're completely out of touch.
Public housing.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
But he's so out of touch. I mean, just the way that he campaigned.
Who is he listening to? That you're going to raise the rent of people in public housing.
Who is the current?
But again, this goes back to what we were talking about. What happens is we get up there and then we lose touch. We lose touch with reality. We lose touch with what's going on, and we get caught up in our own little box and forget about reality.
Or you
don't
have
the majority.
A backbone to speak up, because anybody in their right mind knows that is just, that's just totally crazy.
And housing for many years has been stigmatized for people of color.
Of course.
More.
Oh, yeah.
So because of that, you don't have a lot of people really speak. I mean, now you do. But in the past, it's for years nobody has said anything about housing. So that's why another reason why I'm in that space to kind of say, hey, we got to change that narrative. You do have people with college degrees that are in need of housing. You do have single parents that are upstanding. You do have people that have their sense and use of their faculties that need housing. Mm-hmm. It's so stigmatized for people who are less than, and there's nobody less than, but that's what the government wants to portray in everybody's mind.
Do you have information on after World War I or World War II when they were implementing something with the housing, with the GI loans? Do you know?
I mean, not the particulars on it, but I know some veterans use the GI Bill to get properties. But I mean, it wasn't always available for blacks.
Yeah, exactly.
The blacks couldn't use it.
There was some kind of like redlining,
which still exists today.
That exists back then that still applies today, and how it was broken down. I went to this seminar that was called, I know we're running on the end of our time. But basically, it had something where we were at the bottom of the totem pole. Then right above us was Hispanics. Right above there was Jews, and then like the approval rating for the Caucasians were like at the top. But it was really interesting. It was this seminar that was called the Conversation on Racism, something like that. But they highlighted historically what they had done back then that's in place today. That even with two people the same credentials. The only thing that's different was their race, and their credit score and everything begins lower than someone that is not a minority or of mixed descent. And I thought that was really interesting because that opened up my eyes to understand that my plight in trying to move on and get housing. I live with my siblings right now. There's already historical stacks against us by design.
So for me, when I'm listening to this, and I know y'all probably think I'm crazy, like, to me, as black people, this should make us, black men, black women, want to get together, get our junk in order, stop with the foolishness, and team up. Find somebody to love. Find somebody to do right with. Find somebody to build with. Like, to me, it just makes more sense to me. Why are we going against each other? We should be on a mission to come together as one, as a community, to try to help us achieve. Because it's like the way everything is set up, we gonna lose.
Well, we're losing.
We gonna lose.
Yeah,
exactly.
But let's understand there are racial and historical undertones that has gotten us here. It's not just us not wanting to be together, not wanting to get married. It has been historical. Our children being sold off to slavery, and our families being.
I get it, but then we have to make up in our minds. I know all of that exists. Trust me. We have to make up in our minds. We are not going to allow this to continue. We each individually have to make up in our minds.
Paradigm shift.
Yes, we have to make up in our minds. We are going to beat this.
Well, those things have to be done in layman terms. When you say, speaking about shifting, that shift is easily recognized in Broward, I would say, Miramar, and so on and so forth. When I start saying, let's do a paradigm shift in Liberty City, I lost my whole community don't even know what I'm talking about.
And why is that? Was it always like that, Ms. Rocker?
No,
it wasn't.
I think
it's fine.
I think I hate this term, but the breakdown of the black family has had much impact on people not being able to, as you say, to come together, to build and to grow something. I keep pushing it. But there's only, realistically, there's only so much pie. And everybody wants their slice. So, if you have that kind of mentality that, well, if Daniella gets hers, that's going to leave less for me. And so we've got to get past that point that because she has this much and I don't, then I'm going to resent her or try to do whatever I can. And that's what's happening in white America. With the browning of America now.
Oh, there's a fear.
Of the pie being available to them. So it's all this make America real. It's make America white again. Because it's the browning of America.
And it is a definite undertone and fear that's taking place in our
and
culture.
I'm sorry, I really feel, and that's probably why I push family unit so much, is because until we get this right, it's not going to get easier. It's only going to get worse. This is the nucleus. If we don't get this black family right, if we don't pull our black families back together, if we don't pull this family structure back together, it's like we spinning our wheels for nothing.
How do we do that? I mean, they did go to church.
The church, these conversations, our action, I think it's a combination of all of that. But we are out of time. And so...
Well, I do... We still have time, because I already knew we were going to go over. And I do want Ms. Rocker to be able to speak on her initiative and her business, because... Listen, y'all, it might sound corny, it might sound whatever, but the more our youth see Black women, black men coming together as a unit, as one, through the ups, through the downs, through the back, through the forth. When they see us stay together as a unit, that's what they're going to want to see in their life. And if they continue to see something opposite, we in trouble.
I think, and I hate to say it, but I think the media, social media, and so many of our black youth, all they see are the rappers with the cars and the houses and the scantily clad women, or they see the ballers, and they're not looking at the everyday man and woman that goes to work. You might not want to go, but I got these children to educate. I got to pay the rent. So you go to that job. I know I've done it. You go to that job and you don't necessarily feel appreciated and valued, but you have a goal. And my goal is to educate my child and my children or whatever, And I think we've lost that because we think it's get rich quick.
Yeah,
yes.
Of course.
Get rich quick.
Quick. So, Miss Gerri, can you share with us your program that you are?
Our business.
Your business, yeah.
Well, actually, I am a certified wedding planner. Although I do other kind of events, but my niche it's really weddings. And I primarily focus, it seems like most of the weddings, or a large percentage of the weddings I do, are people that come to Miami for a destination wedding. So I do all the groundwork because, maybe...
Except for us.
Yeah. Well, no, I do have people here in Miami, and Melanie and Jay were one of my favorite couples. And... but I do a lot of weddings for people who live out of town and they want to get married here. But, they may come and check out a venue, and then I do everything and pull it together. They show up and they get married primarily. But I also try to focus on making sure that I help people that, no matter what their budget is, especially our folks in the black community, that if they want a marriage and they want to have a nice wedding, that I'll do my best to try to make that happen for them, because I don't think that, I've done 50 to 100,000 weddings or any more important. They don't last any longer than the weddings that maybe only cost $5,000 or even less, So I think it's important for people to have the kind of wedding that they can afford, that they shouldn't break the bank on paying for something that, is going to put them in the hole. Because after all, it's just one day. People are going to come, drink, and leave, and then you got this massive bill. And I really try to help people to also focus on really yourselves and your spirituality during that process, really getting to know one another, because marriage is, I'm second marriage, and June it'll be 29 years for my second marriage. Yeah, and I was married the first time for 14 years. So, sometimes it doesn't always work out, but the second time I couldn't have asked for a better man. I know God sent him, because I'm sure if I had chosen, I probably wouldn't have chosen it as well. But, so I know it can happen for people, and it just breaks my heart, though, when I see so many intelligent black women, especially here in this room, and you don't have a mate, a partner, and it is good to be yoked with someone, and to be equally yoked.
Yeah, of course.
To be equally yoked.
So how can people contact you?
They can go to my website, which is www.joyfulnuptials.com. That's JOYNUPTIALS.com.
Awesome. Do you have any other contact information, email, or?
Yes. GM Rocker, ROCKER, at joyfulnuptials.com. And Gerri at Jazzy Weddings is my, just went right out of my head.
Instagram, Facebook,
Twitter.
Okay.
Thank you. Twitter.
And she's the best.
Awesome.
She's the best.
And Daniella, just kind of reel us in with what you're working on.
Well, as I was trying to put some things together with wedding and housing, I went back and did some research. Back in October of 1996, there was an initiative passed by HUD. I don't know if it's still on the books now, but they launched a bridal registry for couples who wanted to get married. HUD put a mandate where couples could save, and it wouldn't penalize them if they're living in public housing. So, maybe we need to see and look into this, or, maybe people can start getting married without...
That encourage people, Yeah,
it was back in October of 96, and it was a way for them to save toward a down payment on their home for couples. They didn't say they had to get married in a certain time frame, but it allowed them to kind of save their money together and, plan that dream wedding that they wanted to have. When it comes to getting married, you know, you want to definitely plan for that special day, but those 4 walls are very important too.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to be there for a very long
Mhm.
time. So I would definitely say to, you know, plan for that wedding, and instead of getting gifts, maybe ask people to donate towards your house.
Yeah,
You know,
no,
look at it that way.
that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you need help on yourself for pushing forward affordable housing, or how can people contact you for any questions?
Definitely. Through Twitter, I'm at Daniella, the number 4 change. Daniella for Change. I'm on Twitter. You can always find me weekly in the Miami Times. I'm usually ranting about something. And hashtag Affordable Housing Matters. You know, we did some talks with My Miami Story through the Miami Foundation, and I encourage people to go in and say, why affordable housing matters to me. So if you go ahead and do that and use the hashtag Affordable Housing Matters, it will kind of build some positive traction, because there's so much negative attention when you talk about affordable housing. So we want to change that narrative. So right in your own space, wherever you are, you can just do that, you know, from your phone.
Awesome.
I had a question for you as an educator. How do you feel about this idea that they want to build housing at the schools so that you can
I
live?
understand.
I wrote a whole piece on that.
Traveling. They could build on. I won't be there.
I can't imagine that white teachers.
But I mean,
go through. I mean, it's a way, I guess, to have affordable housing, perhaps.
But
it seems like you need
we need to breathe, man. That's a lot.
Well,
that's a lot.
Yeah, I'm okay with it, but the way the school board was trying to launch it initially was only for teachers, but statewide is not only for teachers. And why am I against it that way? So that means your janitors wouldn't be able to live there, and they deserve those houses even more.
Yeah,
so
support staff.
Right.
Yeah.
So the way the school board initially launched it was only for teachers, and that's not the way the Florida State statute has it written. So they went back and changed it to incorporate employees of the district. So as long as it's written like that, in my perspective, I'm okay with
to live on school grounds.
Well, at least that area they're trying. Well, that's a different conversation.
They're trying to figure out an option. It's an option.
I think.
An option, I guess, for affordable.
I mean, I guess it's a good option, but as a teacher, I wouldn't take advantage of that option.
Y'all would not be able. You wouldn't do that.
I mean, you have some state troopers that live on the school board property right now. So, I mean, if it works for some, it may.
Yeah.
I can see that working for single, you know, like people out of school, just got out of school, whatever. But I need a break.
For the state troopers,
I need a break. These
I
kids.
think, for people maybe right out of school, but you know, I think if you have a family or something, that would be kind of good.
That's too much.
Yeah. Well, you know, look, we're going to continue.
Where they are. At least it's a start.
We are going to continue this conversation, but we are over on time, and I am trying to keep us on time somewhat.
I'm just gonna leave this last little thing. Listen, if you're listening, and you know, I really feel like we need to be more intentional about love. Be more intentional, and
love is the way.
Love is the way.
Love
Listen,
is the way.
If we don't get this right, y'all, seriously, and this is for Black women, Black men, and you know, I'm not. By no means, I don't want you to think that I'm racist or anything like that, but I'm being intentional about the community in which I come from, because I teach these kids. I see a lot, and it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, and I don't see it changing. And the only way I see it changing is if we start at the nucleus, and that's the truth. I know we as Black women, we can hold it down, we can do it all, but it's hurting us.
Well, we've got a lot of mental health issues that we're not
hurting
talking
us.
about.
And those are a number of other conversations that we can get into.
It's hurting us. So I would just say, y'all start trying to be intentional. And those of us that are married, be a reflection to our youth. Be a reflection. Be more intentional about showing what love is supposed to be, showing what marriage looks like, being more involved in the community, because we gotta get this together. It's sad. It's these kids, man.
Unfortunately, it seems like
these
going
kids
backwards.
As
opposed to forward.
Yes, we are. So I hate to sound like I'm preaching, but I'm very passionate about this, and this is kind of where the whole vision of TeamShin Enterprises comes from. If you notice, our logo is a husband and a wife. And it's not that Jay and I are the ideal couple. We've been through a lot. We've been through it all, backwards and forwards, but we're still standing and we're still loving. And we're still trying to empower passion, purpose, and people. Mm-hmm. And we are being intentional about showing the real, showing the reality of what love looks like and how his hustle and my hustle can come together unified in a unified fashion and make it work and give back to the community because these kids need to see it. Mm-hmm. It's a dire need for it. So on that note, we are... Oh, I need to do my scripture.
Yes, our scripture.
Colossians 1:16. And I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't have it in front of me. All things come together for the goodness of the Lord, so to speak.
Through him,
and by him. So you've been listening to, and you can find Gurl what?
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Gurl what? GURLWHAT. Remember, subscribe, follow us.
Yes.
It's www.spreaker.com/user/Gurl what. We are also available for engagements. You want to hear from Melanie talking about marriages, building our community. You want to speak to, you want to hire either one of us collectively or individually. Please reach out. Please. Mm-hmm. We are available because we believe in our purposes, and that is to help and build up our community. I talk about health. I talk about politics. I talk about women's empowerment, and collectively, this is what we're trying to do, and that's why we started this podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you, and you have now listened to...
Oh, we're on iHeartRadio.
We're on iHeartRadio,
iTunes,
Google Play.
Subscribe. You'll never miss a show.
Yes.
And so you've been listening to
Gurl.
What?